and she won't be with us much longer. That sentence didn't hit the room like a gavel. It arrived like a notification on a screen you were trying to ignore. Soft, inconsequential, but absolute. There were 19 people in that glass-walled fishbowl we called a meeting space. 19 spines stiffened at the same time. The air circulation system hummed, a low, mechanical drone that usually faded into the background but suddenly sounded like a jet engine preparing for takeoff. Sutton stood at the head of the heavy composite slab where we held our weekly status updates. She held a laser pointer in one hand, though the screen behind her was blank. She looked at me. It wasn't a glare. It was worse. It was a curve of the lips that suggested she had just tasted something sweet, like a ripe strawberry, while watching a car crash. "Oops," Sutton said, tilting her head to the side, a gesture she used when she wanted to appear harmless. Spoiled the surprise. I stood in the doorway. My hand gripped the travel mug I'd brought from home. It was old, the paint chipped near the rim, filled with coffee that had been hot when I left my apartment but was now tepid sludge. 3 years. That number flashed in my mind, not as a length of time, but as a physical weight. 3 years of arriving while the streetlights were still buzzing. 3 years of fixing code that looked like spaghetti. 3 years of making Sutton look like a visionary when she couldn't even convert a PDF. And this was the severance package. Not a handshake, not a private conversation, a punchline for the Monday morning crowd. "I need to make a call," I said. My voice didn't shake. I was surprised by that. I expected a tremor, a crack, something to betray the crater opening up in my chest. But there was nothing, just flat, gray calm. Sutton's expression shifted. The amusement didn't leave, but it hardened. A flicker of curiosity. She wanted to see me beg. She wanted to see me scramble. She expected me to call HR, or maybe my mother. I pulled my phone from my pocket. The screen felt cool against my thumb. I didn't search for a contact. I typed the number from memory, a number I had memorized 2 weeks ago, burning it into my brain while staring at my ceiling at 3 a.m. I pressed the green button and held the device to my ear. The room was so quiet I could hear the digestion of the man standing nearest to me. "Yes," I said when the voice on the other end answered. I looked straight at Sutton. I didn't blink. "I'm ready to accept." Sutton's face changed. It wasn't a gradual shift. It was an avalanche. The color drained from her cheeks, leaving her skin the shade of wet dough. The laser pointer in her hand dipped, the red dot skittering across the floor like a panicked insect. She knew that voice on the other end. She knew exactly who I was talking to. And for the first time in 3 years, she looked afraid. But before we get to the part where her world dissolves, I need to ask you something. If you've ever given everything to a person who treated you like a disposable battery, hit that like button. And if you want to see exactly how the balance scales tip back, you should probably subscribe, because I didn't just leave. I took the foundation with me. My name is Alara. I'm not the person you notice when you walk into a room. I'm the person who makes sure the room has power. I'm a systems architect. I see patterns where other people see chaos. I fix broken things. It's not just my job, it's my pathology. If there is a crack in the pavement, I want to fill it. If there is a typo in a menu, I want to correct it. If there is a person drowning, I jump in, even if I can't swim. That's how Sutton caught me. She wasn't brilliant. She was loud. She was charismatic in a way that felt like a heat lamp. Intense, comforting, but artificial. She hired me 3 years ago to revamp the infrastructure, which is corporate speak, for do everything while I go to lunch. I didn't mind. I loved the work. I loved the logic of it. Computers don't have egos. Code doesn't lie to you. If a program fails, it's because you missed a semicolon, not because the program decided it didn't like your tone. But Sutton was a mess. Not just professionally. Her life was a series of unattended fires she expected other people to extinguish. 6 months before the end, I was her favorite firefighter. "Alara, I don't know what I'd do without you," she used to say. Usually while handing me a stack of reports she was supposed to have finished a week ago. "You're my brain. You're my right hand." I believed her. That's the embarrassing part. I thought we were partners. I thought she respected the late nights, the saved deadlines, the way I made her shine in front of the board. Then I met Jory. It was a Tuesday, a teacher work day. The schools were closed, and Sutton had run out of childcare options. She brought him into the office, dragging him by the hand like luggage. He was 14, tall for his age, with limbs that seemed too long for his body, like a colt that hadn't quite figured out gravity. He was wearing noise-canceling headphones, the big, bulky kind. "Just sit there," Sutton hissed at him, pointing to the corner of her office where a sad, potted fern was slowly dying. "And be quiet. Mommy has a meeting." She closed the door, but the walls were glass. We could all see him. He didn't sit. He stood by the fern and rocked, back and forth, rhythmically. He was humming. It was a low, resonant sound, like a cello being played underwater. I watched my colleagues roll their eyes. I watched Bauer, a junior dev who spent more time grooming his beard than coding, mimic the rocking motion when Sutton wasn't looking. I felt that familiar itch, the need to fix, the need to protect. At lunch, Sutton came to my desk. She looked exhausted. Her makeup was cracking around the edges. "Is he bothering you?" she asked. Her voice was sharp, defensive. She was ready to fight me. "No," I said. "He's fine," she deflated. "He's having a bad week. The school. They called 3 times yesterday." She sat on the edge of my desk. This was improper, but Sutton didn't care about boundaries unless they applied to other people. She started talking. It poured out of her. The assessments, the diagnosis she refused to say out loud, calling it his challenges or his sensory issues. "They say he needs specialized therapy," she said, picking at a loose thread on her skirt. "Behavioral integration, social mapping, but the insurance won't cover it. They say it's educational, so the school should pay. The school says it's medical, so insurance should pay. And meanwhile, he's drowning." She looked at me then. Her eyes were wet. "He's a genius, Alara. He can do math in his head that I can't do with a calculator. But he can't order a sandwich. He can't look people in the face. If he doesn't, get help now. I don't know what happens to him when he turns 18. I don't know if he survives." I looked over her shoulder at the boy in the glass box. He had stopped rocking. He was tracing a pattern on his knee with his index finger. Over and over. A complex, spiraling shape. He looked up, just for a second. His gaze locked onto mine. There was no artifice there, no social mask, just raw, unfiltered existence. I went home that night and researched. I found Dr. Aris. He was a legend in the field, not a generic therapist, a neurodevelopmental specialist who built pathways where there were none. His waiting list was longer than a lease agreement. His fees were astronomical. I called him the next morning from the stairwell. "I don't take new patients," the receptionist said, "and we don't take insurance." "I have cash," I said, "and I have a specific case," I explained Jory. Not Sutton, Jory. The math, the humming, the isolation. "Dr. Aris charges $3,000 a month," the voice said. "Minimum 6-month commitment, upfront, $18,000. I sat on the concrete step of the stairwell. The air smelled like dust and floor wax. I pulled up my banking app. I had $22,000 in savings. It had taken me 5 years to save that. Every bonus, every tax refund, every time I didn't order takeout, didn't go on vacation, didn't buy the nice boots. It was my house fund, my escape plan, my proof that I was a responsible adult who was building a future. $18,000 was a down payment on a condo. It was security. I looked at the number on the screen. Then I thought about the boy tracing patterns on his knee. I thought about Sutton. She was chaotic, yes. She was demanding. But she was a mother who was terrified she was losing her son. If I could fix this, if I could solve this problem, it would be the ultimate solution. It would fix the boy, and it would bond Sutton to me forever. We would be a team. "Can you do it anonymously?" I asked. "Excuse me?" "The mother. She can't know it's me. She has pride issues. Tell her he won a grant, a pilot program. Tell her she was selected. We don't usually, I'll wire the money today. All of it. If you can take him next week." There was a pause. The kind of pause where rules are bent because money is heavy. "Send the wire," the receptionist said. I did it. I watched the numbers in my account drop from 22,000 to 4,000. My stomach twisted, a physical knot of nausea. I had just spent my house. I had just spent my safety net. But when I walked back into the office and saw Sutton stressing over a spreadsheet, I felt a surge of something else. Power. Benevolence. I was the invisible hand. I was the fixer. Sutton got the call 2 days later. She came running out of her office, actual tears streaming down her face. "You won't believe it," she gasped, grabbing my arm. "Jory!" He got into a program. Dr. Eris. "Do you know who that is? He's the best. Someone nominated him for a grant. It's fully covered. 6 months. That's amazing," I said. I forced a smile. "He must be really special." "He is," she said, beaming. "It's a miracle." It wasn't a miracle. It was my life savings. But I didn't say that. For the first 3 months, it was perfect. Sutton was happier. She was less manic. And Jory flourished. I never saw him, but I heard about him. Sutton gave me updates every morning. "He slept through the night," she told me one day, clutching her coffee. "He hasn't done that since he was 4. He made a friend," she said a week later. "A boy named Leo. They talked about trains for an hour. Actual conversation. Alara. Not just him listing facts. He looked me in the eye and said, 'I love you,'" she whispered one afternoon, her voice trembling. "He's coming back to me." I felt a glow in my chest every time she spoke. I had done that. I had bought that happiness. It was worth the condo. It was worth the cheap ramen I was eating to rebuild my savings. But then, the atmosphere shifted. It started slowly. Subtle comments in meetings. "Alara, maybe run that email by me before you send it," Sutton said in front of the VP. "You can be a little robotic." I blinked. I had written the email because she had forgotten to. Then came the project assignments. I had been building a new resource allocation system for 8 months. It was my baby. It used predictive algorithms to save the company roughly 12% on logistics costs. It was the kind of project that makes a career. When the proposal went to the board, my name wasn't on the cover page. "Sutton," I asked, holding the document, "why am I listed as contributor?" She didn't look up from her phone. "Oh, corporate policy. Only director-level employees can lead major initiatives. It's just paperwork, Alara. Everyone knows you did the grunt work." Grunt work. I had written every line of code. I had designed the architecture. She couldn't explain the algorithm if her life depended on it. "I need credit for this," I said, keeping my voice steady. "This is my performance review material." "You're being sensitive," she snapped. "We're a team. When I win, you win. Don't be petty." Petty. I went back to my desk. I logged into my bank account. $4,000. I thought about telling her. I thought about marching into her office and slamming the wire transfer receipt on her desk. "I bought your son's sanity. Give me my project." But I didn't, because if I told her, the magic would break. She would hate me for helping her. Her pride was a fragile, dangerous thing. She would see it as manipulation, not kindness. So, I swallowed it. Month 4. The unified front. Sutton was spending more time out of the office. Networking, she called it. Client relations. I was running the department. I was doing her job and mine. I was approving budgets, managing Bauer, who still couldn't code, handling crises. When Sutton was in the office, she was on the phone with Dr. Eris's office, gushing about Jory's progress. "He's drawing," she told the team one morning. "Complex, beautiful drawings. Dr. Eris says his neural pathways are integrating at an unprecedented rate." The team clapped. I clapped. Then Sutton turned to me. "Alara, I need you to stay late tonight. The quarterly deck needs to be redone." "I did it yesterday," I said. "It lacks punch," she said. "It lacks vision. Redo it. I'm leaving early. Jory has a recital." A recital. The boy who couldn't stand noise was having a recital. I stayed. I redid the deck. I watched the sun go down. I ate a vending machine sandwich for dinner. The next morning, Sutton presented the deck. She got a standing ovation from the CEO. She took a bow. She didn't mention my name. That was the moment the crack appeared. Not in the pavement. In me. I realized I wasn't her partner. I wasn't her right hand. I was her appliance. I was a toaster. You don't thank a toaster for making toast. You expect it. And when it starts asking for credit, you replace it. The replacement process began in month 5. Sutton hired a new guy, Marcus. No, wait, not Marcus. His name was Trent. Trent was sleek. He wore suits that cost more than my car. He had an MBA and a smile that looked like it had been focus grouped. "Trent is going to be shadowing you," Sutton said, "to learn the ropes." "I don't need a shadow," I said. "I need a raise." We'll discuss compensation at the annual review, she said, waving her hand. Teach Trent everything. I saw the writing on the wall. It was written in neon. Trent wasn't there to help me. He was there to download my brain so Sutton could delete me. I stopped sleeping. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, doing math. $18,000. I had 2 months of sessions left on the contract. Jory was doing well. He was stable. But stability is a fragile thing for a kid like that. Dr. Aris had told me during our initial call that the 6-month mark was critical. It's the consolidation phase, he'd said. If we stop before 6 months, the regression can be severe. The brain snaps back to old patterns. I had the power to stop it, but I was a good person. That's what I told myself. I was the person who saved the boy. I wouldn't use a child as a weapon. That was villain behavior. Then came the Thursday. Sutton called me into her office. Trent was there, sitting in my chair. "Alara," she said. She wasn't smiling. She looked annoyed, like I was a stain she couldn't scrub out. "We're restructuring," she said. The word hung there, heavy, toxic. "Okay," I said. "The department is pivoting," she said. "We need more. Strategic leadership, less technical drag." "Technical drag. You're firing me," I said. "It's a layoff," she corrected. "Your role is being eliminated." "And Trent?" I looked at the man in the expensive suit. "Trent is the new Director of Strategic Innovation," she said. "He'll be absorbing the responsibilities." "My responsibilities," I said. "My project, the allocation system. The company's project," she said. Her voice was ice. "It belongs to the firm, Alara. You know that." She picked up a pen and started clicking it. Click, click, click. "We want this to be smooth," she said. "We'll give you 2 weeks severance if you sign the NDA and the non-compete today." 2 weeks. I had given her 3 years. I had given her my savings. I had given her son a life. "And when is my last day?" I asked. "Next Friday," she said. "But we'll announce it on Monday, at the team meeting. We want to frame it correctly. A transition, a passing of the torch. You want me to sit there while you tell everyone I'm leaving?" "It's professional," she said. "We present a unified front." A unified front. I looked at her. I really looked at her. I saw the lines around her mouth. I saw the slight tremor in her hand that she tried to hide. I saw a woman who was drowning and climbing on top of me to breathe, but I wasn't a log, and I wasn't a toaster. "Okay," I said. Monday. I walked out of her office. I walked past Trent, who didn't even make eye contact. I walked past Bauer, who was watching cat videos. I went to the stairwell, the same stairwell where I had transferred $18,000. I called the number I had been keeping in my back pocket. The recruiter who had been hounding me for a year, a competitor, the Iron Tech Group. "Is the offer still open?" I asked. "Alara?" The recruiter sounded shocked. "Yes, God, yes. We've been waiting for you to wake up. I want double my current salary," I said. "And I want a signing bonus. 10,000. "Done," he said. "When can you start?" 2 weeks, I said. "I have some loose ends to tie up." I hung up. Then I made the second call. Dr. Aris's office. "This is Alara," I said. "The sponsor for Jory." "Ah, yes. We just sent the progress report. He's doing magnificently. Dr. Aris is thrilled." "That's good," I said. "I'm calling to cancel the remaining sessions." Silence. Long, heavy silence. "I beg your pardon? I'm withdrawing the grant," I said. "Effective immediately. Refund the remaining balance to my account." "Miss Alara," the receptionist's voice was tight. "You can't do that. We're in the critical phase. If we pull the support now, he will crash. It's not just a pause, it's a collapse." "I understand," I said. "The mother," she said. "She thinks this is a funded program. How do we explain this?" "Tell her the grant ran out," I said. "Or don't. Tell her the donor pulled the plug. Tell her the truth. This is highly irregular. It's cruel. It's business," I said, using Sutton's favorite phrase. "Refund the money." I ended the call. I went back to my desk. I sat there for the rest of the day. I watched Sutton laugh with Trent in her office. I watched her point to the whiteboard, to the diagrams I had drawn, explaining them as if they were her own ideas. She looked so confident, so secure. She thought she had won. She thought she had extracted everything of value from me and was now discarding the husk. She didn't know that the foundation she was standing on was made of my money. The weekend passed in a blur. I packed up my apartment. I cleaned. I prepared. Monday morning arrived. I was late on purpose. I waited in the hallway until I heard the meeting start. I heard Sutton's voice, confident, breezy, making some exciting changes to the team structure. I pushed open the door. And she won't be with us much longer. The room turned. The silence hit. The oops. I stood there, gripping my cup. I looked at the woman who had stolen my work, my time, and my pride. I had already made the call to the new job, but I hadn't made the final move with Dr. Eris. I had told the receptionist to hold the cancellation until I gave the final confirmation. A small part of me, the soft part, had wanted to give Sutton one last chance. Maybe she would apologize. Maybe she would give me credit, but then she smiled. That smirk. That oops. I pulled out my phone. Yes, I said to the receptionist at the clinic, who I had on speed dial. I'm ready to accept. Accept what? Sutton asked, her brow furrowing. A new job? That was fast. She thought I was talking to a recruiter. No, I said into the phone. My eyes locked on Sutton. Process the cancellation. Refund the balance. Notify the parent immediately. I hung up. Sutton froze. Her brain was trying to connect the dots, but she didn't have the picture yet. Who was that? She asked. Her voice was thinner now. That was Dr. Eris's office, I said. The name hit her like a physical slap. Her hand went to her throat. Why? Why were you talking to Dr. Eris? The room was absolutely still. Trent looked confused. Bauer looked bored. But Sutton looked like she was seeing a ghost. You said Jory had a grant, I said. My voice was calm, conversational. A lucky break. A pilot program. Yes, she whispered. There was no grant, I said. There was no program. There was just me. Sutton's mouth opened, but no sound came out. I paid for it, I said. $18,000. My house fund. I paid for every session. I paid for the intake. I paid for the assessments. Someone in the back gasped. You? Sutton squeaked. Why? Because you were drowning, I said. And because I thought we were a team. I thought if I fixed your home life, you would treat me with respect at work. I thought I was buying loyalty. I took a step forward, but I was wrong. I was just buying you time to figure out how to fire me. Alara, she said. She stood up. Her legs were shaking. Alara, you can't. What did you just do? I canceled it, I said. I withdrew the funding. The sessions are over. As of this morning. No, she said. No, you can't. He needs them. He's doing so well. He's tying his shoes. He's singing. I corrected. Dr. Eris says the regression will start within a week. Without the reinforcement, the pathways dissolve. He'll go back to the humming, the rocking, the silence. Please, she begged. She didn't care about the 19 people watching. She didn't care about Trent. She was a mother now, desperate. I don't have the money. You know I don't. The divorce. The debt. I know, I said. That's why I paid. I'll fix this, she said, coming around the table. I'll rescind the layoff. You can stay. You can have the project back. Trent can. Trent can report to you. Trent bristled. But Sutton didn't even look at him. I don't want the project, I said. And I don't want the job. I already have a new one. Start date is in 2 weeks. Double the salary. Alara, please, don't punish him for what I did. I'm not punishing him, I said. I'm just stopping the charity. You fired your benefactor, Sutton. This is just the administrative consequence. I looked at the thermal cup in my hand. I set it down on the table, right next to her laser pointer. You wanted to cut costs, I said. You wanted to eliminate redundancies. Well, I'm redundant now. He's a child, she sobbed. Tears were ruining her blouse. He's an innocent child. He is, I agreed. And for a second, my heart hammered against my ribs. And he deserves a mother who spends more time fighting for him than stealing credit from her employees. Maybe now you'll focus on what's important. I turned to the door. You should probably call Dr. Eris. I threw over my shoulder. His waiting list is 6 months long. If you get on it now, you might get a spot by Christmas. I walked out. I didn't run. I walked. I heard her screaming my name as the glass door closed behind me. I went to my desk, picked up my box of personal items, a stapler, a plant, a framed photo of my dog, and walked to the elevator. I felt light, weightless. I got into my car and drove home. I sat on my couch and stared at the wall. I waited for the guilt. I waited to feel like a monster, but all I felt was the vibration of my phone. It was Sutton, calling. I let it ring. 1 time, 2 times, 10 times. Then a text. Please. Then another. I'm begging you. Take the money back. I'll sign a promissory note. I'll pay you back over 10 years. Just don't stop the sessions. I looked at the messages. I thought about Jory. I thought about the boy who had looked at me with those raw, unshielded eyes. I almost typed a reply. Almost. But then I remembered the smirk. Oops. Spoiled the surprise. I remembered the 3 years. I turned my phone off. The next 2 weeks were quiet. I started my new job. The office was sleek. The people were respectful. My boss, a woman named Davina, introduced me as the architect. We're lucky to have her, she told the team. She built the logistics system that Iron Tech is still trying to replicate. It felt good. It felt right. But silence is a funny thing. It fills up with the things you're trying not to hear. I unlocked my phone one evening to check my balance. The refund had come through. $12,000. It sat there, a lump of digital coal. Then I saw the email. It was from Dr. Eris. Subject: regarding Jory. My thumb hovered over the delete button. I shouldn't read it. It was over. The transaction was closed. But I'm a fixer. I need to know the extent of the damage. I opened it. Dear Alara, I am writing this against my better judgment, and likely against privacy regulations. But I believe you need to know. Sutton brought him in today. She tried to pay with 3 different credit cards. All declined. We had to turn them away. Jory didn't understand. He sat in the waiting room and took off his shoes. He tied them, then untied them, then tied them again. He was showing us he was ready to work. When his mother tried to pull him out, "The door," he screamed. It wasn't a tantrum. It was grief. He held onto the doorframe until his fingers turned white. We had to call security to help her get him into the car. I know there is a history here I am not privy to. I know you have been generous. But please understand, the window is closing. If he doesn't resume within 2 weeks, the neural pruning begins. He will lose the language skills first, then the emotional regulation. He asked for you. By the way, he doesn't know your name. He calls you the fixer. Sutton must have used that word at home. He said, "Tell the fixer I did my homework." I stared at the screen. The words swam. Tell the fixer I did my homework. I put the phone down on the coffee table. I walked to the window. The city lights were blurring. I had won. Sutton was destroyed. She was humiliated professionally. Word had gotten out, as it always does. Bowers had told everyone. The industry knew she had fired the woman who was paying for her son's medical care. She was a pariah, and now she was watching her son disintegrate. It was the perfect revenge. It was biblical. Eye for an eye. Career for a life. So why did I feel like I was the one suffocating? I went to the kitchen. I poured a glass of water. My hands were shaking. I thought about the house, the condo I could buy again in a year or 2. I thought about the smirk. I thought about the boy holding the door frame. I knew what I had to do. The question was, did I have the strength to do it, or was I just as broken as the people I had left behind? I picked up the phone. I didn't call Sutton. I called Dr. Eris. "It's late," he answered. His voice was tired. "If I restart the funding," I said, "can you get him in tomorrow?" "Yes," he said immediately. "But there are conditions," I said. "Strict ones. Name them." "Sutton never knows," I said. "She thinks she found a new donor, or a scholarship. I don't care what you tell her, but she never, ever hears my name. Again. Done. And one more thing," I said. "I want weekly reports, but not to me. Send them to the fixer." "I understand." "Wait," I said. "I'm not finished." "Go on." "I'm not paying the full amount," I said. "Alara, I can't." "I'm paying half," I said. "Sutton has to pay the other half, even if she has to sell her car, even if she has to move into a studio apartment. She has to bleed for this. She has to know what it costs." There was a long silence on the line. "That might be impossible for her," Dr. Eris said. "Then he fails," I said. My voice was hard again. She needs skin in the game, doctor. If I pay everything, she learns nothing. She needs to sacrifice. That's the only way she becomes the mother he needs. I see, Dr. Eris said. You're not just treating the boy. You're treating the mother. I'm fixing the system, I said. I'll call her, he said. I hung up. I transferred $6,000. I sat back on the couch. I didn't feel like a hero. I didn't feel like a villain. I felt tired. But the next morning, I got an email. A photo attachment. It was Jory. He was sitting at a desk, drawing. A complex, swirling galaxy of lines. He wasn't smiling. He was focused, intense, alive. And in the corner of the paper, he had written one word, fixer. I closed my eyes. Sutton resigned a month later. She took a demotion at a nonprofit. She sold her luxury SUV and bought a used sedan. I saw her once, at the grocery store. She looked tired. She looked older. She was counting coupons in the checkout line. She didn't see me, but I saw Jory standing next to her. He was helping her bag the groceries. He was calm. He was present. He looked up. His eyes scanned the store. They passed over me. He didn't recognize me. Why would he? I was just a stranger. But for a split second, he paused. He tilted his head, like he heard a frequency no one else could hear. Then he turned back to his mother and handed her a carton of milk. I walked out to my car, my new car. I had lost $12,000. I had lost 3 years of my life, but I had fixed the unfixable. And sometimes, that has to be enough. Thank you for listening. This story, it wasn't easy to tell. If you've ever had to make a choice between justice and mercy, tell me in the comments. And if you think I should have let Sutton drown completely, let me know that too. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories from the edge of the corporate abyss. Until next time, keep your receipts,